Hello and welcome to Talk 90s to Me, where the suburbs, they are dreaming, they've a twinkle in their eyes, and we know why. They have a twinkle in their eyes because they have joined our Patreon, a nifty idea which means that you, lovely listeners, can donate around £4 a month and get some brilliant extras. Plus, you can bask in the warm glow of knowing that all the money you give goes into paying the people who make Talk 90s. Not just me, but excellent producer Liam and brilliant editors Tom, Robin and Simon and charismatic camera tweaker Chris. So, why not search up Talk 90s to Me Patreon, that's Patreon, or follow the link in the show notes to find out more. Now, on with the show. This is Talk 90s to Me, where we stumble up some metal stairs into a bar full of wildly good-looking young people to meet a maniac red-haired bloke in a really weird jumper behind a desk who proceeds to talk nonsense at a band, chuck a script in the air before shouting at a cameraman and introducing a girl who cries actual milk from her actual eyes. I'm Miranda Sawyer, and yes, this week we are talking TFI Friday, the live entertainment show hosted by Ginger Ninja Chris Evans that dominated early Friday nights in the late 90s. And to talk all things freaky and indeed unique, we have Josh Widdicombe, comedian and host of umpteen shows on telly and in your ears, such as The Last Leg, Parenting Hell, and Ace new podcast, The Museum of Pop Culture. He's also written a book about 90s TV called Watching Neighbours Twice a Day, so he is indeed the perfect person to talk about the big pros and massive cons, if you are me, of TFI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
TFI Friday.
A very divisive
yes,
topic.
A little bit of a divisive topic. Okay. I'm going to describe very briefly TFI and then I'm going to ask you about it. So it started in February 96, which is the kind of epicenter of the height of 90s madness, indie madness. It was a live show initially and then it was kind of recorded 15 minutes before it went out.
Because of Shaun Ryder?
Because of Shaun Ryder swearing, yes, exactly. And it went out on Channel 4 on Friday evenings. It featured some really brilliant bands, without a doubt, playing live and interesting famous people along with silly skits. Okay, so seemingly at the time, its two main USPs were it took place in a studio that was essentially a nightclub and bar with that atmosphere, with that extreme atmosphere, and it was hosted by Chris Evans, who was like absolutely riding high at the time. Although we can argue about another special appeal because that's why we're here. Okay, so Josh, how old were you when TFI came on and what did you think about it?
So I was 13.
Oh my God, it's ideal for you.
Exactly. it hit me just right.
Yeah.
My dad was 13 when Please Please Me came out. This is my equivalent. So I was 13 and it only went on for 3 years, didn't it? So I was 16.
Slightly longer.
Slightly longer. But it had a tale where it really, the glory period, because then there was bits where it was hosted by the Spice Girls for an episode, or Elton John.
So basically it went on till kind of 99 with Chris Evans, and then he was actually still hosting it in 2000s.
Was he?
Early 2000s. And then basically, as often happens with Chris Evans, he just loses interest, doesn't he? He's like, I'll just go and do something else. And then, the Spice Girls would host it, or Elton John or whatever.
So that I don't count. But for those 3 years from when I was 13 to 16, really, it was, and you don't really get this anymore, apart from perhaps The Traitors. It was what would be termed appointment viewing.
Yeah.
It was 6 p.m. on a Friday. So I imagine a lot of people, it was before they went out. I wasn't going out.
But it's also a little bit like the Tube. Like, up for the Tube for my age group was the same thing. So it's like something that happened on a Friday that you were like, this is like the equivalent of going out. But obviously, you're not going out.
Yeah, exactly. And it felt like everything I imagined was going on in London.
Yeah.
It felt like, to use the 60s comparison again, you know when they talk about how the 60s really only happened around Carnaby Street.
Yeah.
But it felt like this was going on and it was unconnected with my living room in Devon. So it was a window onto this other world, this kind of incredible world of music and sport and Ewan McGregor and Train Spotting and, fashion and all, etc.
Yeah, and it had a very particular atmosphere, and I think that's what made it really.
Totally.
Because, I mean, obviously Chris Evans had come off like Big Breakfast, which was kind of an amazing
Brilliant.
Kind of shock to the breakfast format. And then he'd done TFI.
Don't Forget Your
Toothbrush for 2, a really short amount of time actually, just 94.
Mad.
That was it.
Yeah.
And then, so he's coming off that. And around this time, he literally gets the Radio 1 breakfast show. So it's like, it is quite a madness. And that madness, that energy and adrenaline comes out of the telly because it's an hour long. It's done live, so you're moving very quickly. I mean, it's a difficult kind of televisual thing to do. So you're moving from live bands, which are hard to film anyway and get all the sound right, to quite an intimate interview somewhere else within the environment. Plus negotiating all these people that are actually there, and then you're using inverted commas ordinary people for your skits.
Exactly,
quite incredible. A madness, and that kind of weird energy comes out, doesn't it?
It felt like nothing else. It felt like, if you listen to the Radio 1 breakfast show, which I did at the time, it felt like it was part of the soap opera in the same way.
Yeah.
It felt like Chris Evans' life felt in a way like a reality TV show that you were following. So the characters would move between, so you had John Revel, the DJ, who was the sidekick on the radio show, and he'd sometimes crop up. And then obviously you had his life with, like, Danny Baker. You can't really talk about TFI Friday without saying that Danny Baker was central to it. He wrote the script. He was part of the ideas. And so it all kind of came in and out together. And then you had this other thing where, because it was in a bar, and actually the crew were becoming part of it. And the classic one of there is Will McDonald, who's the producer, who became a star in his own right. Will McDonald, I kind of met and talked to and stuff. He then sent me the pilot the week before.
That's so interesting,
And what was really interesting, this was that film the week before they did it.
Yeah.
The interviews and stuff were downstairs. And they were like, this isn't working. And so they moved it up to the bar, and that kind of changed everything about it.
Because they mentioned that, because he's mentioned that, and Chris Evans mentions that in like one of his many autobiographies.
Yeah.
There are so many. I was like, I'll do a bit of research. Jesus.
It's like Katie Price.
Yeah, it's like a library of stuff about you. They were done kind of that bit at the top, because obviously it's all constructed. It's in a studio. It's in Riverside Studio, but it's kind of constructed like a club. It really reminds me of a club. So there's a balcony where you look down onto the bands and all that. And in that balcony, but that was like the green room for the band originally was the idea, and that's where they moved the interviews to. So they would interview, like, there's some of the interviews took place at the bar. Like I remember they interviewed Damon Albarn.
Yeah, it's a really depressing interview, that one.
I love that interview.
Yeah. When she claims he's not going to the Brits because he's got some other reason, and you're like, it's because Oasis are going to win, Damon.
Yes,
we all know it. We all know it.
Exactly.
Come on.
I love it. It's sort of its time. And then there's another area which is kind of even lower ceilinged, where he has a desk.
Yeah.
And what that does, because it is like mayhem there, because there's a lot of punters, right?
Yeah.
And if you as of course you have, you work with punters all the time. And I've hosted kind of like shows where there's a lot of punters. Punters can wreck interviews because they just come in and wreck and kind of ruin it.
If you want people watching, they're stood up. Most of them presumably can't see.
Yeah.
They're drinking.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
It's a disaster.
Absolute disaster.
If you turned up to that as a comedy gig, you'd go, no,
I have to leave.
Yeah.
So he did it in this kind of area with his desk, which was low ceilinged, and then it's just like a chat. And it's obviously better for the artist, but also it's better for Chris Evans, because you're creating a small and quite intimate environment, which, obviously everything's happening outside, but it creates a different atmosphere, and it works much better. I think
there's so many things that it's very much like a radio show that's been put onto television.
Yeah.
Which,
it's got little bits.
Yeah, and it's got kind of it's almost got a posse. Okay. And it's all, do you know what I mean? That kind of awful radio word that you don't really get anymore.
Thank God.
Yeah, but it's almost got that. It's got a willingness to go off. And so obviously the best thing about radio as opposed to television is, because of the way television's made, you can't make many decisions on the hoof, because they need to know the shots, they need to have the props, they need to have. TFI Friday did feel like, I remember an interview with Shane Ritchie, where there's a sentence that's never been said.
Done it. I've interviewed Shane Ritchie,
but I can't remember what it was about. Right, but Shane Ritchie says at some point, like, I wanted to do stuff like this, and Chris Evans goes, right, he almost says, let's rip up the rest of the interview. Let's get into that. And that felt like nothing you'd ever see and you still couldn't see on TV.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think that the absolute... I mean, I'm going to rewind a bit because I think that pilot's really interesting, right? So the pilot changed it. They realised it wasn't working, but they were still going on. Because normally, what would happen now is you would do a pilot and they go, it doesn't work, you're going to have to do another pilot. In 4 weeks' time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you wouldn't then just put it on the air. But anyway, that kind of energy is within it. And originally it's designed for Jonathan Ross to present.
Yeah. So you wanted Jonathan Ross to do it.
Jonathan would be very different, I think, because he would be really good. He's a great presenter, absolutely brilliant presenter. But I think I don't know, he's quite smooth. There's something about that's
he's
quite
smooth
about him.
And he's, I mean, maybe he wouldn't agree with this, but he's slightly self-consciously nerdy and naff in the way that, like, he wears a suit.
I see what you mean.
He's into comic books. Yeah. He's smooth. Whereas Chris Evans, you get the feeling, wants to be in the band.
Yes.
And you don't get that feeling with Jonathan Ross.
Yeah,
Jonathan Ross is comfortable in himself. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a way in, I think, for the audience because of that, because they also want to be in the band. But anyway, so they go ahead. It's actually really well structured in that radio way, but then it can go off if it wants to. But it has like little skits that are pre-filmed so that then when they're making the show, they'll have something that's just a ridiculous thing. I don't know, George Best going off to do something. You know what I mean? And they'll have that. They'll drop that in. Whereas obviously behind the scenes, they're going, okay, we're going to move this band, and you're going to talk for a bit longer over here.
Yeah.
So it's got that kind of telly construct. But the main thing it's got, which is why it works, is the audience and the cameramen and everybody is involved.
Yeah.
So you see the cameraman, you see the producer. Chris Evans, is reading off an auto cue and then he shows you the auto cue and he casts it aside. So you and everybody in that bar environment are involved, and everybody in that bar can almost be picked on at some point and talk to.
Totally. And it's really interesting to watch it now, because when you watch it now and there's the kind of, like the Mock the Weekend live at the Apollo-ification of laughs on television, where they are big and they get applauses and everything, and you don't realise, because it sounds like they're dying on their arse on TFI Friday, because you're listening to it with the ears of someone 20 years on. Yeah. Like, it sounds, there's a hubbub. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Because people are drinking. People are genuinely drinking. So they're like chatting.
It's a proper barman.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that mean, I suppose? I mean,
he can do cocktails. So anyone's asking for cocktails.
But is it Andrew the barman or something? And he's literally their barman. And it's like, you don't want to be doing a TV show in an active bar.
No, absolutely. So there is an element of which I think is true, which you picked up on as a punter, which is it is going on. And this is part of a culture. But you also said something which I think is the reason why I don't really like the show, which is it's basically the culture of Chris Evans. So you were like, okay, I listened to the radio show on Radio 1 and then I moved to TFI Friday. And what I'm doing is following Chris Evans and his world, right?
Yeah.
And I completely agree with it. And this is the problem I have with Chris
Evans. Right, yeah.
So
if you don't buy into that, then...
Yeah. And also because basically, so Will McDonald, one of the things, when I was researching this, said, so he met him, Will McDonald was a researcher on Big Breakfast, right? Yeah. And he met him, and how he describes meeting was, he said, I came into Chris's world. And I'm like, okay, this is my problem. Because what I feel with Chris Evans, and clearly he's a great presenter. Yeah. But how he works, and even now how he works, is you come into his world. Yeah. Right? And within that world, he will literally tell you who he thinks you are. And I'm like, that just absolutely always irritates me. So if he's interviewing, I don't know, Charlene Spiteri, or he does it a lot with women, or Louise Winner, he'll go, yeah, but you're like this, aren't you?
Right, yeah.
And they really might not be, but they have to constantly argue that they're not now, because you're within that environment.
And also, in that situation, you've got to then decide, all right, do I go with this and look a laugh?
Yeah. This is a constant dilemma of women in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. It really is, isn't it?
It's like, oh, great.
Yeah. And I, no disrespect to me as a 13-year-old boy, it hadn't occurred to me.
Of course, why would it? Because you were engaged with this world. But I feel like even now, like if I look at somebody, say, like Graham Norton, amazing at his job, right? Yeah. He has a world that people enter into, but that world is stretchy and flexible, and it will let those people be themselves within it.
Oh, I'm
you
sure
know what I mean?
Graham Norton, I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but, you know, who's kind of the greatest chat show host, along with Jonathan Ross, that I'm sure he'd say that the best Graham Norton shows are the ones where he contributes the least.
Yeah, and so he lets the people be who they are.
He is really a conduit for the guests, right? And the best Graham Norton clips, if you think of them, are really when it's Lady Gaga and June Brown.
Yeah.
Or when it's Miriam Margolyes and some American actor who can't believe what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Like, who is this woman?
Yeah, that's what you want. It's that meeting that's the genius of the Graham Norton show, is the people who get put on the sofa together.
Generous enough to do that. And I'm certainly not, I don't think they think about this when it happens. But the problem I always have with Chris Evans is A, he ruined the 90s, but like B, the reason why he did was because he made it all about him. It's his world you enter into. It's his world you enter on Radio 1. It's his world you enter into a TFI Friday. You are in his world. And there's no room for you. So when you mentioned, like, there's a really awkward interview with Damon Albarn. And
as is every interview with Damon Albarn.
Yeah, of course it is, because he won't let people, like, he's like, I'm in my world, like, come into my world. Do you know what I mean? So what Chris Evans says, because he does a thing which I do like, which he's quite genuine with his emotions. So with him, he'll say, I'm really intimidated by you, Damon.
Yeah,
right?
He's good at that,
Yeah, which is a good thing to say. And Damon then reacts. But it doesn't work because he's trying to get him to be jolly about the Brits without thinking it through. He can't be jolly about the Brits because this is obviously going to be the year that Oasis win. So, like, why would Damon be jolly about that? Why would you ask stupid questions about it? And everything that Damon does is a bit like, this is silly. Do you know what I mean? And what he's doing is saying, this world that you're presenting to me is actually a bit crap. So I'll just answer the questions as best I can, and then I'll go and do the bit that I'm really good at, which is being in Blur, and I'll play amazingly.
Is he there presumably to play a song from The Great Escape? Right, they play Stereotypes.
And so, like, and they're obviously amazing, and that's really great. But it's like that. Whenever I see the interview, there's an interview with Louise Weiner that she does so well in it, but it makes me cringe throughout.
Right,
because he's just operating. The first thing he says to her is basically, I really fancy you. Like, what the fuck are you meant to do with that?
Yeah, that's mad.
Like, what is she meant to do with that?
Yeah.
And then...
I was hoping you were going to start this interview like that. Imagine how awkward that would have been. Every interview you do
I really fancy you.
Yeah. Just so you know, I'm incredibly intimidated by you.
Yeah, I'm incredibly intimidated with you, or I really fancy you.
One or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. It's going to go so well.
Sometimes both.
So it's that bit where you're just kind of dealing with him all the time, I find really hard.
But that is why also, as a viewer, it has a character that no other show had. So when you say, like, don't forget your toothbrush, I only ran for 2 series.
Yeah, 2 series. That was it.
But there's
some... This is about the audience.
Yeah. Well, do you know, I heard, I was talking to a camera operator who worked on that.
Yeah.
And, they'd give away a holiday to the audience.
Yeah.
So they'd be like, you're going to Bermuda. And sometimes they wouldn't win.
Yeah.
And
they go to Berwick-on-Tweed.
Yeah, they go to Berwick-on-Tweed. And they would give it to one of the members of staff.
They do holiday.
So every week,
the
staff were bringing their suitcases.
Because everyone was hoping to go on a holiday.
But anyway, as a viewer at home, you want to enter into this world, because the thing that makes it difficult, maybe if you're a guest on TFI Friday, makes it exciting as a viewer, because the truth is, when you watch, I don't know what the other places where you'd see
Wogan,
or had Parkinson come back by that point?
Yeah, maybe.
I used to find Parkinson really...
It's pretty rubbish.
It's pretty rubbish because it's just laughing at... It's very, very respectful and just laughing at the prepared anecdote, right? And I loved that you were welcomed into this world that didn't feel like any other part of television.
Yeah.
That's what it was that got me and my friends. Was maybe the only other thing on TV that felt like this was Shooting Stars.
Oh, yeah, that was so great. I loved that.
So where... That was a similar thing but obviously different because it was an out-and-out comedy show.
Yeah.
but where you'd
So I'm just going to say it's Vic Reeves, Bob Mortimer. It's amazing.
Yeah, so it's a panel show but really it's get some people on and do silly stuff and they sit and take it.
Yeah.
But in a very respectful way.
I don't know if there was that much.
No, maybe it wasn't.
But it was more surreal.
It was more what I mean is then I don't remember that it didn't set out to humiliate people.
It didn't feel like it, no, not at all.
And so those two shows felt like the people that were coming on, it didn't matter who it was, whether it was John Peel or Joe Guest on Shooting Stars. They were kind of watching Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer.
Yeah.
And those two shows felt like they had a personality of an auteur, I suppose.
Yeah, and also
phrase.
it's like a revealing personality, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like what you're saying to the guests is, can you handle it?
Yes, and
so like,
that's a horrible thing to go on to as a guest.
Absolutely, I think is very difficult, and is like actually, I'm sure I will end up doing an entire programme about this atmosphere in the 90s. It's like, can you handle it? Like, because if you can't, we're just going to elbow you out, right?
Did you feel that with other things like, say, Loaded magazine?
So I was thinking about Loaded in relation to TFI, actually. So Loaded really is James Brown in magazine form, right?
Yeah.
And there is a lot, James is a friend of mine. There's a lot about that I really, really love. Like, and one of the things I really love is he really respects writing, and he also respects the idea of taking somebody who just happens to be a good writer, isn't like fetid or anything like that, and put them in a mad environment and see how they do. Because and what that does for a reader is like, that could be you.
Yeah.
It could be you going to Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
It could be you doing this, right? And so there's a whole element of it that brings the reader in. And I think there's a little bit about TFI Friday, because it is Chris Evans' world, and he's kind of saying, actually, you as a punter could be on, I mean, for a start, you could be like an ugly bloke or something. You could be on Freak or Unique. Yeah. you muggy, you like muggy normal person, we'll get you on, but only to humiliate you. But like what you get to see is a kind of side of famous people that maybe you wouldn't normally see. Yeah. So you feel like you're seeing like the backstage of a famous person. Yes,
definitely. And I think that the relationship to famous people then was very different to the relationship now.
Yeah.
Because now you live in a world where the kind of Taylor Swift-ification of like pop is that you want to know, the more the pop star bears.
Yeah. But it's also like there's a kind of niceness about it. Like it's Taylor
totally.
Swift. Taylor Swift bears everything as long as she's lovely.
I went to the Eras tour,
and
with my daughter,
me too,
and it was one of the most feel-good experiences of my life. Yes. And I'm not like I like a lot of Taylor Swift songs, but I wouldn't probably put them on. But like it was I found it incredibly moving.
Me
the
too,
Eras tour.
And it's because of the fans.
Yeah. Because it was incredible. But
it's a nice experience. This is a lovely, nice experience.
Yeah.
That is not the same with TFI Friday. There's something a bit like it might go wrong.
Isn't that what? That's why it felt like a night out.
Yeah.
Because a night out. That's why I don't go out anymore, but like for that reason. But like the excitement of a night out was this could go wrong at any moment.
There's a thing about it that you could also analyse it. So obviously it's made in the image of Chris Evans, but it is in a bar.
Yeah.
It is absolutely made around alcohol.
Yeah.
Everything is alcohol. So Chris Evans himself, he's not sober or anything now, but I think he in his many books, he would acknowledge that he was close to having an alcohol problem, but kind of managed to pull out. But at the time, he was functioning on alcohol. So like he would finish his radio show, and then he would go and work out, and then he would just batter it.
Yeah, totally.
And absolutely, he was absolutely alcohol fueled all the time, and people had to come to him. So like if you wanted to write the script, or if Will McDonald wanted to discuss what was going to go onto the Friday show on a Tuesday, he would go to wherever Chris was.
Totally. And it was like a king with a court, basically.
Yeah, and it would be which is exactly like a lot of people in bars, isn't it? If you're a great person in a bar, you're the person in the corner, anybody comes in and you're hilarious and witty and funny and possibly slightly cruel because you're just in your cups. People come and see you.
Well, the alcohol thing's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because, so I don't drink now. I had an alcohol problem.
Yeah.
And I often think, did that come from not from TFI Friday, but like the things that I consumed media-wise in the 90s meant that I saw alcohol as the absolute kind of, what's the word, I suppose? I just put it on a pedestal, right? I saw alcohol as everything.
Yeah.
And that
it's
comes
like a door that opens for you, isn't it?
And that is, so that's Loaded, that's TFI Friday, that's the Brit Awards.
Yeah.
That's advertising with Alco Pops, that's, you know, even Liverpool Football Club at the time. It's like all these things were, this is where the fun is.
Yep.
The fun is in alcohol.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's not the reason I can't drink anymore. But I do think it probably led me into thinking, once I got to uni, I was like, well, now this is what I do.
But then I do think that's a British thing anyway, isn't it? You have to be really good at piss taking, you have to be really good at boozing.
But I think that's changing now, right?
Yeah,
I think,
hopefully. It's like our talent, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then, we're like, oh, thumbs up for us. Drinking Olympics, we're on top.
Yeah.
but it's literally set in a bar, and the whole thing is a lot about it. Some of the characters actually come from a bar where Chris Evans drinks. There's a barman character that is literally a person that he knows through there. But it's also the vibe is that. So it's like, can you hold your own in an environment where people are kind of slightly gently drunk? So in order to hold your own, actually, you have to be the smartest, the wittiest, the greatest at put downs.
Well, it's how I imagine you'll be able to tell me. That's how I imagined it would be if you spent any time with the Gallagher brothers. Like, I always thought maybe. It is that thing of, you know, like, if you were with Oasis, I imagine, if you didn't hold your own, you'd sink.
Well, you just collapse in a corner. I'm under the desk now. I'm just having a nap. Or I'm crying on the stairs.
Have you seen, there's a pub, I don't know what it's called, but it is across the road from Riverside Studios.
Ah, yeah.
And on the wall, they've got loads of photos.
It's the Cantor Arms, I think, maybe.
Right, yeah. I can't remember, yeah. And it's all the photos on the wall are of like Chris Evans on the lash with, you know, not Elton John, but like literally David Bowie or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would be in that pub until 10 to 6 or whatever.
And they would send out the poor studio floor manager. Can you imagine? To try and find them.
Can you imagine the stress
try and
of
find
that?
your presenter and like producer probably. Yeah. And to try and find them, and they would move from a pub where they thought they would be just to kind of confuse them because they were so confident that they could just walk on. He could walk on and it would be all right. So he's like pretty much half cut when he's doing it anyway.
But I think there's something in that, right? In that, and he doesn't come across as drunk at any point. Not at all. But that confidence is what you need to be able to host a live TV show.
Yeah, you need to be 2 drinks in.
Yeah. The people who are best on live TV, and I'd throw Noel Edmonds into this, and I'd throw...
I'm going to give you a look. I'm leaving you a look. This is an audio look.
No, right. Noel Edmonds, to host Noel's house party, that is a skill.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Or I'm not saying like these people are
people
artists.
You want in your house.
Not saying they're people you want in your house. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is to host a live TV show and never be flapped is a skill like that people don't really understand.
So hard.
It's so hard. It's so much harder than radio because radio, you can look, you can give your producer a look, you can do anything. You've got to always, the camera's always on you. And I think that takes someone who has zero self-doubt.
Yes, that's true. And also, to be honest, even, you know, Chris Evans, who, as I said, I have a problem with, he's really, really good at it. But in the end, you have to be drunk to do it because his life was completely mental. And the only way that he can survive it, actually, I think, is either to be completely sober or to be lightly drunk all the way through. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and at that time, the solution in the 90s, I think, the solution was to be drunk all the time. Like Liam Gallagher said that. He was always like at least 2 drinks in. Yeah. Or he couldn't get through his life.
Yeah.
Right, because people would be stopping him, they'd be shouting at him, whatever. And he just needed to be a bit drunk, even to just go to the shop.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. But you had to
But that is the 90s. You know what I mean? Like...
And none of us drink anymore. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk some silly items that they had. These are because some of these I think are really cute and some of these I think are really awful. So I'll give you a cute one. Right? Yeah. Cute one was baby left, baby right.
Great idea.
That's so great. So basically they have a small child sitting on a cushion. And the guest would go, okay, you have to bet which way it's going to topple over. That's just the cutest. I love that.
It's a brilliant idea.
It's so funny.
And I think this is going to, but I do think, I don't know whether that's specifically a Danny Baker idea, but Danny Baker's...
Oh, yes, we should talk about Danny a little bit.
Because he is...
His mind is unbelievable.
His mind's unbelievable. He's the most kind of...
And he basically, I'm going to do a quick resume of Danny Baker.
How are you going to do that? I don't know.
I'll do it really short. He was a really great writer for the NME, absolutely unbelievable. There's an interview with the Jacksons and Michael Jackson that I absolutely urge you to search out. It's completely brilliant. But then he turned to lots of different things, including radio. He was fantastic.
He's incredible on the radio.
Fantastic on radio. But he became, I don't even know how, he became the scriptwriter on TFI. I don't really know
this was
how.
also via becoming, he somehow went from NME to being brilliant on the radio to being shorthand for kind of Saturday night rubbish. He did Daz adverts.
He did Daz adverts and a terrible
Pets and Prizes.
And he did a terrible chat show.
Yeah. And so he kind of lost himself in kind of...
Earning money, probably.
Yeah. Well, and he's got this insane attitude to money, which is knock it out. Whatever he makes, he spends.
Yeah.
Which is a wild decision. It actually makes me anxious to think about.
But anyway, he was writing the script.
He wrote the whole script.
And quite often what they would say is that they would have this meeting, which was wherever Chris Evans would be on the Tuesday, and they'd decide a few ideas, like, this is the guest, these are the things we might do with him. And then they would wait for the script from Danny Baker, right? And obviously it's ye olde time, pre-internet, so it would come through on a fax on a Wednesday, and they would wait, they'd be waiting all day for this script. Obviously, this is Will McDonald, and who's a producer. He would be making producer-type phone calls, like, can we film here? Maybe we could do this for a skit. And then the script would come out and it would bear absolutely nothing to do with what they talked about the day before, and they'd have to try and make a show out of it. And then the next day, they would be filming bits, talking people to come on, stuff like that, and then they'd go and make the show. I mean, it's nuts.
And it would have weird references to because Danny Baker's obsessed with popular culture.
Yeah.
And it would have weird references to kind of Joe Longthorne would come on and sing a big outro, or it would be who played like the King of Love or whatever. And
yes, I've got the Lord of Love, the actor Ronald Fraser in a quilted smoking jacket.
Right, exactly. Like, and you just all these things that like Danny Baker had got
part of his head.
Was part of his head.
I think actually those bits you can kind of tell are Danny Baker's head, meaning that they're kind of they reference almost like not quite vaudeville, but something like that.
It's almost music hall, isn't it?
Yes, and that's the element of TFI that I quite like.
Yeah.
There is another element that I dislike, right? Which is the kind of get the punters on and kind of take the mickey out of them, even though they quite wanted to be taking the mickey out of them. One of them was Ugly Bloke.
Ugly Bloke.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about Ugly Bloke. Okay, so every week an ugly bloke. I'm saying ugly bloke in inverted commas. Yeah.
That's the name. That's not your words.
This is not what I think. Was essentially stand there in the studio and was given the chance to kind of reject the kind of scripted advances of a very, very good-looking woman. Yeah. Right. And what he had to say is, "Sorry, love, you're not my type."
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. That's the joke, and then everybody would cheer. The ugly bloke quite often would like pump the air.
Yeah.
Because he was like succeeding. Yeah. Right? Okay, I'm just going to mention the woman that was the good-looking woman. Her name was Caterina Girardo,
I knew that.
right?
Isn't that awful?
Yeah. Her name was Caterina Girardo. She was, quote, the gorgeous girl sidekick, and she was there for for a consistent amount of time on TFI Friday.
She did a thing where she gave money to people in the street as well on their Christmas episode.
Okay, shall we talk Caterina Girardo?
I don't know anything about her.
Of course you don't. She played the violin. She started age 7. By 12, she played the Royal Albert Hall and the Royal Festival Hall. She got a scholarship to Guildhall. That wasn't mentioned.
No.
None of that got
You'd think also, you'd go, there's probably something we can do with that.
Yeah. You could at least do someone playing the violin. But no, she was there because she was fit, right?
Yeah.
She was in FHM's Sexiest Woman. During Series 3 of the show, her role was dropped with no information surfacing as to why.
Oh, God. Oh,
so
God.
basically, something happened. She pissed someone off, and that was it.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
It was a weird feature, that. That and Freak or Unique were the main two feature mainstays that I remember.
Yeah, and Freak or Unique, what would happen is there would be like, say 5 different punters, ordinary people.
One of them was a running joke, wasn't it? The incredibly tall old lady.
Yes, who was like clearly, I think she was standing or something.
Yeah,
It looked like it was. And they would say, okay, the Freak or Unique, why are you here? The classic one is the girl who can cry milk.
Yeah.
Right, and that you would have a choice as an audience member to vote for, is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? They would all be able to do something like shoot marbles out of your stomach, or something like that. I don't mean like shoot.
There was a guy who
like,
now works on BBC Sport, called Rob, and I've met him since, and his Freak or Unique thing was that he could, if he tensed his stomach, it looked like an elephant.
Isn't that all of us? But it's like that kind of thing. And then the audience would vote, but actually they wouldn't really vote because it would be a producer holding it,
be like,
number 4.
We've all worked in television.
Yeah. And then they would literally show you, they've just told them to work number 4. So that was actually quite benign. I didn't really mind that one.
No, that was fun. That's just like, show us your funny party trick.
Yeah, and it's also they used to do that on things like The Word and things like that, didn't they? That was quite benign. There was another one called Fat Lookalikes. Remember that?
Jesus wept. I'd forgotten about Fat Lookalikes.
I'm just like, I'm wrecking the show for you, aren't I? And they would just have somebody who came along and looked like Demi Moore, but was like bigger.
Yeah.
The fat and thinness of those times is unbelievable.
Well, there was a show called Fat Club, where people would lose weight.
Yeah, and also there was the notorious time where Victoria Beckham, who'd given birth to
I'd say that is the lowest moment.
Yeah.
Like,
do you want to explain
in
what happened
common
there?
parlance? She'd given birth to presumably Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many months after it was.
It wasn't even. It was barely months. It was like
it?
6 weeks.
And it was 6 weeks.
It was really weird.
And they weighed her to see if she'd lost the baby weight.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So
that means bringing the scales in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean by the kind of sabotage. Like, there's sabotage of women quite often on there, because you go on and you think you're going to talk about I mean, obviously you know it's TFI Friday, so you kind of know you're not going to be going into depth on the the second track on the third side or whatever. Like, that's not going to happen.
Who played the horns on this?
What were you thinking when you were writing those lyrics? You're not going to get that, but you think you might get something, and it's nearly always slightly appearance based or you're fit.
Yes, of course.
And there's always a comment about how fit you are.
So how much do you think this was just TFI Friday, and how much was this the dialogue of the nation at the time? To you at the time, how? Because I was 13.
Yeah.
How much did you feel at the time? Like, did you have as stronger views on it then as you do now?
No, because I think when you're within the sea as a little fish, you don't question the sea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
Sea. But also, what I find interesting about that time is, like, in order to be taken seriously, for instance, right, and I still do it now.
Yeah.
Is if you look at Elastica, obviously fantastic band, they all dress like blokes.
Yeah.
And I still dress like a bloke.
Yeah.
Because it's an absolute hangover from that time.
Right, that's interesting.
Because in order to kind of be taken seriously.
And Louise Wenner as well.
Well, Louise Wenner is really interesting because she liked frocks. She wanted to be cute. Like, everybody fundamentally wants to be a bit cute, don't they?
Yeah.
And she
I do.
Like, everyone does.
Yeah.
We want someone to think we're pretty. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
And so she was more, I suppose, conventionally feminine.
Yeah.
And because of that, she wasn't taken as seriously. So because I knew I wanted to be taken seriously, I had to dress like a man.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I mean, I didn't entirely, but that's fundamentally what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't think I did that all the time.
Was that consciously?
No, I don't. And also, I didn't. I wore short skirts with the best of them, but there's an element of it. I always wore flat shoes.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So I think that is, you don't realise it until you come out of it. We just were living our lives. And half the time, when we talk about the 90s now, I'm like, oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. This is just therapy for me, John.
Well, I was doing an interview and someone said, what do you think Traitors says about now? I was like, it's impossible.
Yeah, you can't tell.
Because I can't understand what's going on now. I'm not,
Yeah, we need our distance, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one more thing. I don't even remember this one. Do you remember this one? What does the fat bloke do? That's the title of one of them. I don't really know. I'm not quite sure.
I don't even. Do you know what that was?
No.
I've never heard that before.
I know, anyway.
No, yeah.
This to me is slightly desperate and competitive. They gave away £1 million in December 1999.
Giving the date there, that says we're struggling for ratings.
And also it was because Who Wants to Be a Millionaire had started and they hadn't given the million yet because you had to work. The person who was competing had to kind of get there. It was a hard thing to do. And so they were undercutting it.
So how did they get £1 million on Channel 4? Is that just the money that was in TV at that time?
Yes, a lot. Well, one of the anecdotes, which is a very, kind of famous anecdote about TFI Friday, is that when they were doing their prep for the show, John Cleese was coming on. John Cleese is very, very particular about scripts and he wants to know what's going on. And he wanted a script. And so he was like, can I have a script by Tuesday? And they're like, we haven't written it. We don't really write it. And it's not finished until like an hour before the show.
Yeah.
And he kept phoning. And this anecdote is in both Chris Evans' book,
it's in Danny
Baker's book as well. And they basically said, you know what we'll do? We'll go and give him the script. He's in New York. Ha, 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 how hilarious. Yeah. And they buy tickets to go to New York. Basically, they buy tickets on Concorde.
Yeah.
Right? They spend 40 grand on tickets to get there. Then when they get there, they start drinking. Yeah. And they don't go to John Cleese's hotel. Danny Baker breaks his foot and is sent home.
Of course he does.
And by the time they go to John Cleese's hotel, obviously he's checked out. And then they fly to Paris to try and get him there. And then he comes on the show and they've got like a 70-second skit about them flying around. And it's cost thousands.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's cost like £70,000. It costs so much money because the tickets on Concorde cost 40 grand.
But weirdly, but like the money in TV,
it's the money
is mad because there's only 4 channels. So obviously the money is, and 2 of them you can't advertise on. So the money that must be coming in.
That's what it is. So it's spent in that way. So some weeks, obviously, most weeks they would not be spending that money, but they can kind of justify it.
There's a poor production manager there.
Yeah.
And they're going, oh, God.
Signing off the accounts.
I hope that's early in the series so they can make it up later on.
Yeah, it's a lot more than kind of, fruit and flowers, isn't it? I mean, that is bad.
It's really... But that's what I mean about the radio thing. What appealed to me as a viewer was the freewheeling nature of it, that anything could happen.
That's the appeal for Chris Evans as well. Like he's clearly somebody who doesn't want to be bored.
Yeah.
so it's a bit like we have a great idea, let's go and do it.
Yeah.
And I think that was very prevalent in magazines at the time. It's very prevalent in Loaded. It was prevalent in lots of different things where it's a bit like, we've had this great idea, let's just do it. Why don't we go to Cannes Film Festival even though we haven't got accreditation? Why don't, just funny ideas.
Yeah. Well, I suppose if you think about that Concorde one, right, if you could spend 70 grand on a sketch.
I suppose so, yeah. If you were SNL.
If you were SNL, yeah. And if it was SNL, it wouldn't be as funny.
No.
But it wouldn't be funny. But like, you could spend, I don't know what a carpool karaoke would cost. I imagine they're not being paid, actually, because that's probably promo. But like...
High insurance, though.
High insurance, yeah. But like, the money that can be spent on television is... otherworldly.
And I think at that time it really was, because obviously it's pre-internet, there is nothing else.
Yeah, of course.
This is how you...
It feels
if you want to reach young people, which everybody did, it was just at that point where branding was, brands were seen as a great new thing. And if you wanted young people, because the brands always said that, okay, you have to get young people because then they stick with you for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I don't know that they think that now.
No.
But they did then. This is a way to get young people.
Totally.
Because obviously, Top of the Pop's no advertising.
Top of the Pop's no advertising. Yeah. I don't know if the word was still going on.
No, I think it's gone.
But I don't know if you want to be associated with that in the same way. I missed the word.
Yeah.
Because I don't miss the word. I missed the word.
Yeah.
So I only know the iconic clips of the word. And there was like Dennis Pennis and the Sunday Show.
Oh yeah, of course.
But there was very little youth television.
Yeah, exactly. And this was the epitome of it, and you were in it. That's the thing that they were hitting. I've just thought of another terrible skit thing they did. Shall I tell you?
Yeah, go on.
Staring contest between kids.
So this is awful because I know this is because the kid I can't remember what they're going to win.
Okay, so they're going to win a car Yeah. And it's 2 7-year-olds.
Just awful.
Can I just say those words? 7-year-olds staring at each other.
I don't know how someone hasn't said this is only going to end one way.
Yeah. So basically they have a staring competition and the person who blinks first loses and the person who wins their parents a car. And obviously a kid blinks, they lose. And what a surprise. They cry.
Yeah, understandably.
On live telly.
Oh, my God.
I'd
say...
And they do that twice. They didn't stop it after the first time. They did stop it after the second time.
That is. Because I'd say that and the Victoria Beckham thing are the things that if you said to me, name the absolute...
The worst.
I mean, as well as the production, it's an incredible decision by the parents.
Social services were knocking on their door.
That is a wild... I mean, maybe, I suppose a car's a car, but even then, you've got to say, is this worth it?
Exactly.
There's so much to lose.
Oh, dear.
Because you know that kid who's on Nevermind, who's still absolutely messed up by it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I wouldn't say no to a documentary that features the two kids, kids that did that staring contest.
Yeah, they actually, because they did bring TFI Friday back for a very short amount of time to 2015, and they actually brought those two kids back and said, we're really sorry.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, we're really sorry. Look, please can we show everyone that you're well-adjusted adults?
Did they make them do another staring contest?
They did not. I think they showered them with gifts and
right,
watered them off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been a bit mean about the whole affair. There's definitely elements that I liked about it. For you, as somebody who was watching TFI Friday, what were the bits that you really loved? Because I know in your book you mentioned that there's the Bowie interview that you really loved. The Bowie interview
I loved. I loved Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney came on and played every instrument in what felt exciting then.
Yeah.
The screens of him doing every instrument. The Bowie interview is incredible.
Yeah, so it's like with Paul McCartney, it's a bit like he is every member of his band.
Yeah. Which is how he wanted the Beatles.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Obviously.
It's that clip where George Harrison says, I'll just play what you want me to. Paul McCartney's got there eventually. But David Bowie comes on and they measure his height against a wall like a child for some reason they're doing that. Bowie's off probably a Concorde or a transatlantic flight, and he's wired. Yeah. He's sober by that point. And he's just all over the shop. He's wearing this kind of incredibly awful outfit that's like...
It's very bright.
It is what a 7-year-old would wear. It's like it's kind of luminous T-shirt. And
a bright shirt over the top. And
I don't know what he's promoting, but it's during that period also when David Bowie isn't...
People don't like him. He
isn't David Bowie. Yeah. He's playing quite small venues for David Bowie.
And he's doing like tin machine, and like he's doing... So people, like musically, he's not respected at this time.
No, which is...
It's just insane.
But we go through these periods. There's also the earlier period where Paul McCartney's not a respected musician.
I know.
It's mad to look back on these periods.
I know, it's nuts, isn't it? But it's like, but he on the show, he's delighted to be there. That's the main thing that you feel about it. And I again, because I'm me, find it quite hard to watch because he's too delighted for me. I'm like, you're David Bowie, like, stop.
But do you know one of the things about David Bowie that comes across in that interview, and it comes across... I supported Stephen Merchant on tour years ago, so obviously I talked to him about when David Bowie did extras. David Bowie, I don't know if have you interviewed David Bowie? No. He's incredibly normal. He's incredibly normal and kind of down to earth, and that's what comes across, and it's interesting to see that. I'd say one of my favourite iconic moments is after Jarvis Cocker's run on stage at the Brits. Yeah. And I'd say this is the best thing that ever happened in the 90s is Jarvis Cocker running on stage at the Brits.
So, we could obviously do an entire programme about that, and we will.
Well, I'll come back anytime you want me to talk about that for an hour.
Yeah, so that happened, it's early 96 that happens.
Yeah, and Michael Jackson's doing Earth Song.
Yeah.
And it's kind of self-aggrandising, making him out to be Jesus, awful. Jarvis Cocker runs on stage. Yeah. They've got the footage on TFI Friday from the camera that he kind of lifts his T-shirt up.
He lifts his tummy, flaps his tummy, and then he does a fart.
Wafts his arse, because Candida Doyle's kind of challenged him to go on stage. Yeah. And then, obviously, he gets brought in. Bob Mortimer who is a former solicitor, acts. It's like a perfect 90s thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the Friday, so this is huge news.
Yeah.
And then on the Friday, he's on tour somewhere, but they have a live link up to him from TFI Friday. And he's so funny.
Yeah, he's the best.
And he's so self-effacing and he's so silly. And if you were to kind of over-intellectualize it, it feels like the moment, like Misshapes, the song, where it's like, we're the nerds and we're going to take over.
Yeah.
It feels like when Jarvis gets the better intellectually of Michael Jackson by being funnier, drier, it almost feels like the victory for the Misshapes in that kind of moment. Also, it is the moment when we go, oh, we prefer this self-effacing British kind of music that's kind of, the whole thing is captured in that, I think.
I mean, I think it wrecked Jarvis, but like it's definitely a moment where, you're right, where the Misshapes come on and say, actually, we're better. There's a really brilliant thing that happens in the Daily Mirror where initially they come out on Michael Jackson's side.
Yeah.
And they kind of go, no, this is absolutely terrible. And then they realise that everything is wrong and they flip to Jarvis. The next day, go on, Jarv, you were absolutely
was that
fabulous.
Piers Morgan? Or was he not there by that point, maybe? I don't know.
I think he wasn't there.
No, right, yeah.
He was still the son. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the weird things about TFI Friday and the 90s, is if you take Liam and Noel Gallagher out of it, but if you think about James Brown, or if you think about Damon Albarn, or Graham Coxon, or Jarvis Cocker, or Justine Frischman, or, Vic and Bob, they're the nerds.
That's the point.
Yeah. Damon Albarn, who...
It's alternative culture becoming mainstream, and it shouldn't have done. It should, because normally what happened with the alternative culture is it stayed within the NME select world on the outside, and it... Actually, Oasis did it. They dragged it right into the mainstream and made it absolutely huge.
But look who Damon Albarn is. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He's like the son of a kind of art lecturer. And he's like, look at him now, like he hasn't got a mobile phone and he's into like going to do music in Africa and stuff. And you're like, this man shouldn't be in the TFI Friday bar.
I know, he shouldn't. Except he's so good looking in that picture. I showed it to my daughter because she loves blue, and I was like, look at Damon then. She's like, okay.
Unbelievably good looking.
Yeah, I didn't even notice at the time. I thought it was like quite nice.
It's mad, and he still is.
Yeah, I know, it's fine. Okay, I've got two more things to say. All right. The first one is, I'm going to read you a bit. I think this is quite an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a Guardian kind of review much later on of TFI Friday. And what it mentions is that Jerry Halliwell and Kylie do a kind of staged snog. And 99, I know it's awful. So what happens, I've watched this, and what happens is Jerry Halliwell and Kylie do an arm wrestle. Yeah. And then they snog.
Yeah,
right?
I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, okay.
It's like the other side of the coin to the brilliant moment when Dawn French snogs Hugh Grant on Comic Relief, which is one of the great moments.
So they do it, and so this is like, titillation. And that's happens in 1999, right? So this is the what the Guardian wrote about it. He said, it might sound like a direct link to the uni lad generation, but the way that Chris Evans introduced it reeked of old British vaudeville. He even shouts mother before introducing the clip. This music hall English entertainer shtick was still the norm in the 90s, which I think is really interesting when we were talking about Vic and Bob. It still exists here and there in Ant and Dec or Harry Hill. But by Series 6 of TFI Friday, reality television had exploded onto our screens in the form of Big Brother. So instead of this constructed joviality with, in inverted commas, normal people, you get the real thing.
Totally.
And it just kills it. It's got to kill it dead.
Well, I think the moment Nasty Nick is confronted in Big Brother 1, you go, nothing else can be as good as this.
Yeah, because it's so tiny.
Because it's so tiny and it's so real. And I remember speaking to Kathy Burke, and she said she watches reality TV. Yeah. Because she says to any young actor, watch reality TV, because that's how people actually act. That's what people actually look like when they're going through these things.
It's like the culmination of the 90s, because part of what the 90s was doing was saying ordinary people are as interesting and fun as celebrities, right? And that's kind of partly what TFI was doing. I know they're taking the mick out of ordinary people, but with Freak or Unique, there's a kind of element of it. And then that absolutely is what happens in the 2000s. That's when reality TV does it. Okay, I've got one other thing for you. Okay. So Chris Evans kind of leaves 99, 2000.
Doesn't he go to TFI Sunday at one point?
I can't remember, but also he meets Billie Piper.
Oh, man alive.
On TFI.
Did he meet her on TFI?
In 2000. He's met her once before. She was 17 and he was 33, and they married the next year in 2000. She's 18, he's 34, 35.
He sent her a car full of flowers or something, didn't he?
Yeah, for their first date.
She couldn't drive.
Yeah, so they do. I mean, they stayed together. I'm certainly not saying it wasn't a happy marriage, but this is what I mean about Chris Evans' world, right? For their first date, the budding couple head out on a London bar crawl, ending the night at Stringfellows nightclub.
Classic.
The very next day, Chris drove to Billie's house in a £100,000 silver Ferrari covered in red roses and asked for her hand in marriage.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's what I mean. It's like a kind of like, this is my world. I want you to be in this world, and now you will be in this world. You are. That's it. And that's the thing I have a big problem with.
I can totally understand where you're coming from.
Thank you, Josh. You are on my side.
But no. Don't put words in my mouth.
No, it's true. I'm sure you... Yeah, no,
I think there's light and shade in TFI Friday.
There are definitely bits that people should watch. I would include a lot. There's an amazing performance by Garbage. Blur, absolutely brilliant on it. Sleeper, brilliant on it. Honestly, you can get...
Shaun Ryder, pretending
Shaun Ryder.
Johnny
we haven't even mentioned it. So, okay, we'll do it really quickly. The reason why TFI couldn't be live was because Shaun Ryder swore, and the reason why he swore was because he got warned once when he went back on, and Chris Evans says to him, I will give you my shoes if you don't swear. Shaun looks at the shoes, they're Patrick Cox, and he goes, oh, the fucking Patrick Cox.
It's so good.
It's so brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And he looks brilliant. He's got a suede head and a moustache.
Yeah. It's a, I'd say if you were to do a kind of time capsule of the 90s, I don't think you could do any better than just put TFI Friday in if you only had one item to sum up the decade.
Please don't say that. This is not what this show is about.
For better or worse?
No!
Sorry.
I disagree.
What would you put in?
Not that.
Wogan. The Wogan with James Harris looking at antiques.
Yeah, that would be lovely. No, I'll put Jarvin. Okay, so here at Talk 90s to Me, all our life you're dreaming and then you stop dreaming, but we have a solution for that, and it's the Talk 90s to Me Spotify playlist. Which track would you like to ask Josh? I know you know all about 90s music, so...
I'd like to do Your Woman by Whitetown.
Oh, wow, that's so... I didn't think you were going to pick that at all.
I love that song.
That's so lovely.
It's such a good song.
That's such a lovely thing to pick.
Oh, thank you.
But you know what I mean? I thought, he loves Blur. He's going to pick a Blur song. Do you know what I mean? No, that's great.
It's a classic one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
It's a guy on his own in his bedroom in 94, maybe. I can't remember the exact year, who's just made it.
Yeah, that's so wonderful.
I find it absolutely heartbreaking. It's got a great sample.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's such a good choice. Okay, great. Well, you may have it. Is this on our...
Does that change your view on TFI Friday? Absolutely not.
Not at all. Okay. Okay, so that was Talk 90s to Me, featuring the fabulous Josh Widdicombe, who is dominating all podcast charts everywhere with at least one of his highly successful and brilliant offerings, Parenting Hell or the Museum of Pop Culture. I would recommend the Museum of Pop Culture to people generally if they like the same things that we do.
Yeah.
And I think they do.
And we spent an hour finding out we don't like the same things.
Well, okay.
Interested in.
Yeah, interested in, exactly. Okay. And if you want more about 90s TV from Josh, then you could try his book, Watching Neighbours Twice a Day, which features TFI, obviously, but also El Dorado.
Loved El Dorado. And
something called Gus Honeybun's Magic Birthdays. So
not quite as iconic.
Yeah, but why not try that? It's good. I'm not plugging my book anymore because I'm going to write a new one.
Oh, it's great, your book.
Yeah, that's very nice of you, Josh. Thank you, that's very sweet. But if you join our Patreon, not only will you get the chance to buy some very cute merch, you'll also get some special extra episodes where I'll be chatting about shoes, you know that, but also about some stuff I've just unearthed in my loft.
Oh, nice.
Including the transcript of the Pulp Fiction interview I couldn't find last week with John Travolta and some top quality KLF instructions.
Oh, wow.
I just found them yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So good. And even if you don't join our Patreon, live your life and subscribe to Talk 90s to Me on your podcast app. Follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky just for a laugh. See you next week.